and challenges in the wheat product supply chain, from flour to consumer. Our session moderator is Mr. Reddy KV, Executive Vice President, PD Staples, Spices, Noodles and Pasta at ITC Foods Limited. Panel discussion, we have Mr. Anand Ramanathan, Partner and Leader, Consumer Products and Retail Sector, South Asia, Deloitte. Mr. Innovation Approaches in Baking and Product Development, Mr. Biren Palani, Managing Director, Mr. Shaurya Kapoor, Product Manager, Stone Ingredients India Private Limited. We have got optimizing procurement strategies in the wheat supply chain, Mr. Ashish Bhatnagar. Strategies and opportunities in exporting atta, Mr. Sandeep Wagre. Future trends and technological advancements in flour milling, Mr. Raghav Gupta. Retailing, baking and wholesome production, Mr. Shaishav Mittal. And finally, we have management, mill management, Mr. Nikunj Khandelwal. So these are our esteemed panelists and speakers for our final session. We are supposed to start at 2:30. I see a full house either eating lunch, sitting on their phones, talking, gossiping, networking, good, but you are all in the room. So I would like to start at 2:30 with the permission of Raj Kapoor ji. No problem, wait. So great, welcome back, and let's go for our final session. Have you had a good lunch? कोई जवाब नहीं दे रहे, कोई बात नहीं. So did you eat your lunch well? खाना खाया? Like Mumbai language, खाना दबा के खाया. So let's begin. May I invite our session's moderator, Executive Vice President, PD Staples, Spices, Noodles and Pasta at ITC Limited Foods, Mr. Reddy KV. Are you here, Mr. Reddy KV, sir? Okay, we'll move on. May I invite Partner and Leader, Consumer Products and Retail Sector, South Asia, Deloitte, Mr. Anand Ramanathan. Yes, sir, you're welcome on stage, sir. I'll invite the other panelists. May I invite Mr. Biren Palani, please? MD, Mr. Biren Palani, are you here? May I invite Mr. Shaurya Kapoor, Product Manager, Stone Ingredients India Private Limited. Shaurya ji, are you here? Welcome. May I also invite Mr. Ashish Bhatnagar, Director and Head Procurement, Group O Bimbo for India region. Mr. Bhatnagar was here earlier in the afternoon. I see him now. Warm welcome, sir. And may I also invite Mr. Sandeep Wagre. Are you here, Sandeep, sir? Mr. Raghav Gupta, Director, Mohini Corporation Private Limited. Raghav ji, are you here? Yes, there he is. Mr. Mr. Shaishav Mittal, founder and CEO, Lovely Bake Studio. Mr. Mittal. Mr. Shaishav Mittal, founder and CEO, Lovely Bake Studio. Okay, we'll wait for him. And finally, Mr. Nikunj Khandelwal, Chief Strategy Officer, Khandelwal Group. Ready, sir? Would you like to begin? You'll come here? Okay. May I invite Mr. Aditya Bagri, Bagri India Private Limited. Director, Bagri's India Private Limited. A warm welcome to you, the Young Brigade. So thank you very much. I give you Mr. Reddy KV of ITC to please begin proceedings.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Volume, volume. Hello, volume.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can we start? I'm not able to hear from the back benches.
Okay, from the back benches, the question is, can we start? What is the answer? Is that it, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the last session of this workshop or meetings. Till now, so much focus was there on supply and demand of wheat. Now, in this session, we will focus on whatever supply is there, whatever demand is there, we need to convert that supply into demand. So that is what we are going to focus on this session. Whether it is 98 million metric tons or whether it is 115 million metric tons, whether it is 1 ton or 100 million tons, has to be converted into the edible product, what consumer wants. The focus will be given in this discussion. So all the speakers can present or talk to the audience for 4 to 5 minutes each presentation. Then later on we will open for the discussion. I hope it is okay. So first session, we will start with Mr. Anand Ramanathan. Can I add about Anand Ramanathan? Should I explain? Okay. Okay, no. So Anand Ramanathan is a partner and leader, consumer products and retail sector, South Asia, Deloitte. He is going to talk on exploring opportunities and overcoming challenges in wheat processing.
Is it loaded?
Yeah, presentation. It's on the screen, sir.
Okay, so then I'll just say next slide and you can change the slide, right? Sure. So thanks everyone for having me here. It's good to be in a conference where there is a lot of geopolitics along with agribusiness, right? Which is dictating the entire movement of the wheat value chain. So what I will focus on is obviously on how wheat is evolving and the whole opportunity around value addition in wheat. And also very quickly cover some of the other major trends from an agribusiness standpoint. So we can move to the next slide, please. Right, so very quick, agriculture and its value add. Now, sometimes what is important to look at is that we take a lot of this employment for granted, and it impacts a lot of different lives, right? And therefore, if you look at its contribution to GVA, you'll see that in 2021, it's at about 18%. And share of agri in GDP is again increasing. And we will see all of these different segments impacting it, from crops to livestock to fishing and marine, etc. The Indian economy in agriculture is largely dominated by cereals because of the green revolution, and therefore we are seeing that things like wheat, for example, is getting pressure from other crops, especially as we diversify from a food pyramid standpoint into horticulture and proteins and all of that, along with a lot of import substitution which is happening in pulses and oil seeds. And hence, food grain production, while it is growing, there is obviously pressure on sustaining some of the traditional crops that we were growing, plus land is getting diverted from agriculture to other products and services and manufacturing and everything else, right? And hence, how do you intensify becomes the important question to answer. And these are some statistics again from a total food grain production leading to cereal production to wheat production. And again, you will see that wheat is one of the largest crops, contributing to about 113 million tons as compared to rice, which is at 136. Yeah, so we can move on. So this is just to very quickly give you a sense about agriculture in India, which is 18%, and wheat, which is 34% of food grains. Next slide, please. And again, from an agricultural standpoint, we see a wide diversity of agroclimatic conditions, and this makes India very attractive from an agri-business standpoint, right? Because we are the largest or the second largest producer of a whole host of commodities, and hence what implications are there for wheat is to see how again, wheat can gain from some of this policy focus. We are looking at one district, one crop as something that a lot of state governments are looking at. How can we as an industry take advantage of some of that as we grow and expand? And again, what is the role of procurement in the entire wheat value chain? And while I was entering, I just heard this interesting discussion about allowing imports, exports, etc. Right? And therefore, how can we also move up the value chain, right? We've seen this whole Sharbati revolution and what it's done with atta. Can we also replicate it in other parts of the country and help some of the processors as they grow and expand to also add value to the wheat value chain? Please move to the next slide. We'll come specifically to wheat itself. So this is production trends. Again, very important to look at how production is by and large growing. You might have blips in a few years, but overall growing well. And export volumes, again, you'll see that it went up and touched a peak in 2022, but has fallen since. But given the whole food security problem in the rest of the world, given Ukraine crisis, etc., this is going to be something which will be very closely looked at by the rest of the world in terms of how much India is producing. And hence, what can we do to also not just look at producing wheat, but also processed wheat products? How do we take it to market? And the other important aspect here is also to look at MSP. And hence, how is it that farmers, there's a lot of innovation happening in the agri-value chain. How is it that we are going to help farmers take advantage of some of this and make it more remunerative for them to grow wheat is an important question to be answered. So again, a lot of policy focus on looking at the role of both government regulations on MSP on overall farmer income and prices. Yes, please move on. And regional landscape of wheat, very important to see that the top three states, UP, Madhya Pradesh and Punjab, are focusing on wheat as a product. What can we, again, look at each of these different states in terms of both area as well as volume, and how is it that we can at least look at some of the laggards, right? UP is the highest in area, but doesn't really reach the productivity levels of Punjab. So these are the big opportunities in terms of how we can, within the country itself, cross-pollinate between states and regions. And again, from a wheat across states perspective, I did mention different varieties of wheat. One important aspect here is to learn from other sectors, right? Dairy, for example, has moved from the basic pouched milk to a lot of value addition. Similarly, what can we learn from other categories itself, right? How can we extend that to bread and biscuits and various other value-added products as they grow? We're seeing a lot of premiumization in the market from a consumer standpoint. How is it that we're going to benefit this sector specifically? Health and wellness, big consideration, and hence the whole gluten movement, gluten-free movement, how are we going to take advantage of that? These are all important questions to be answered in terms of value addition. And also ready to cook, ready to eat. We saw post the pandemic a lot of focus on looking at convenience, right? And hence a lot of different companies are looking at staples, packaged staples for branding. They're looking at diversifying into the wheat value chain. I know of specifically of quite a few dairy companies, for example, which are looking at extending into wheat. So these are all opportunities that are there, but value addition is really critical. And a lot of this is at a state government level. So how do you also engage with different state governments, which are obviously offering a lot of incentives for you to grow and expand in those states? But how do you engage with a farmer? How do you build this entire technology-led agricultural innovation, which will help you engage directly with farmers and source more efficiently, right? So these are all some important areas to be considered as we look at varieties in different parts of the wheat value chain, grow and expand in different states. Yeah, and now I'll move to the last slide, which will kind of set the stage for the discussion going forward in terms of wheat processing. So you will see that that the light green box that you're seeing there, wheat plays a small role in the amount that it gets processed. A lot of it is around consuming wheat in very basic primary processed form. Right? Now, how do you also move up the value chain and do more tertiary processing, more value-added products is an important area. The second is milling capacity itself. Right? In food, for example, we're seeing a lot of localization. There are these cuisine clusters which vary every 50 to 100 kilometers. ITC is obviously here and other atta companies are here. They'll talk about how some of their products themselves vary as we move to different regions. So how is it that we're going to bring in that localization, right, in terms of what that particular region needs is an important part, because food is all about taste and it's not very easy to change taste preferences very quickly, right? And hence adapting to these local conditions and therefore distributed milling, right? You might have advantages of scale and in terms of processing at a central level, but many times you'll see closer to the market, you're able to customize and adapt better, right? And hence, how is your supply chain network going to look and how is it that you're going to do a lot of decentralized supply chain is also a critical area to focus on. Beyond all of this, like I said, there is value addition in terms of starch, in terms of malt, in terms of dextrose, gluten, alcohol itself. A lot of agribusiness these days is also looking at sustainable operations, and therefore, how do you look at agri waste and become more sustainable from that? These are all supply chain considerations. Plus, of course, there are various different challenges. Awareness levels on, for example, alternative grains in terms of gluten-free, etc. There is a lot of awareness building which needs to happen. There is a lot of milling which is outdated, so how do you bring in more modernization in the sector? How do you work with some of the large food processing equipment players to modernize the sector? Adequate storage, another big challenge, the amount of wastage, etc. So how do you also address these issues of the value chain where post-harvest losses can be minimized? And finally, what are we going to do with all the inefficiency in the supply chain, right? There are numerous levels of intermediation. How do you look at taking advantage of some of these agtech companies now which are there in the front end directly connected to the consumer? They're procuring wheat. How can you take advantage of some of these different innovations which are happening from a technology standpoint? So with that, I will pause. And you can see that it's expected to reach 546 billion, which is a big number, and therefore that's the big opportunity when it comes to processed wheat, which can be looked at as a market for growth for everybody in this room. So thank you so much. Over to the next speaker.
Mr. Shaurya Kapoor, Product Manager, CEO and Founder, the Cyprus Asokam Foods Private Limited. He is also consulting Stern Ingredients India Private Limited as Product Manager.
Presentation. Hi everyone, I'm Shaurya Kapoor, Product Manager, Stern Ingredients. And by profession, I'm a bakery technologist. And today I'll be presenting you how we can help you guys in developing and manufacturing new products with the help of, by reducing the fats in your products, majorly in cookies and puffs. Okay? दे रखा है, हाँ. नीमा, Stern Ingredients के नाम से.
Just a small technical snag, and we are getting it sorted out. Thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen.
I think in the meantime, till the time they are sorting it out, maybe some other presenter can present it.
Yeah, we'll have another presenter because he's not yet got it. Yes, you please, sir. Shauraji, you'll wait in the meantime?
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm just.
Yeah, okay. Sir, please. You don't have a presentation. Carry on. Please carry on.
He is Mr. Raghav Gupta, Future Trends and Technological Advancements in Flour Milling, Director, Mohini Corporation Private Limited. He will be presenting on future trends
Hi everyone.
and technological advancements in flour milling.
Hi everyone. This is Raghav Gupta from Mohini Corporation, Bangalore. So I would like to tell you about the milling trends and technological advancements in the flour milling industry. So currently, the flour milling industry has been growing as the productions are going up, and this is mainly due to the technological advancements and the sustainability done by our flour millers. So India is the second largest wheat producer in the country, so that's huge. And going forward, India has been rich in growing wheat from so many years. Our ancestors have been growing wheat from more than 100 years. And today, India is one of the largest producers of flour also. And going forward, in India, the industry also is going forward by its automation and AI and other technological advancements, such as, first I'll talk about automation. So in automation, I would say the flour milling industry right now, all the new mills which are coming up are adopting automation in their plants. Due to these automations, we are able to get down the cost of production and the breakdowns in our mills, which is very important. Companies like Celis and Buller India are doing a good job in getting those machines to India at a good competitive price, which is the most important in our industry being in India. Second, I would say there's one more new technology which is which has been launched in Sweden. It's called Bomill. So Bomill is a kind of a technology which can actually reduce the cost of production and electricity in our flour mills, as you can install that in your cleaning sections. And if you install that in your cleaning sections, the grains can be cleaned on the basis of the protein level. So if on the basis of protein level, the grain can be cleaned, the destoners and the scorers in the mill can be reduced, which take a lot of electricity in our mills. And if that technology is still in process, it would take some years to get final private commercialization. So if it comes, it will be very good for us. So artificial intelligence is one thing which the world is seeing nowadays all across in all industries. So in flour milling also, we need to, we are seeing that. So if in artificial intelligence, if you say, if there is a problem and you feed the data in that, so the computer automatically give you results on the basis of the product. What are the results? So for example, if you are getting wheat from Madhya Pradesh, UP, or be it Rajasthan, anywhere, if we fix what all other parameters are required to make me a bread flour or noodle flour, so that will that a truck is coming, the computer will tell us this wheat you can blend in silo 1, silo 2, and silo 3 as follows. Another thing is, the next point is market expansion and diversification. So flour mills today have been making all kind of products which are making the needs of the customers, all kind of flours in the market. So another thing what I see is growing is the pasta market in India. Currently the pasta market is valued at $800 million, and by the next 10 years or 8 years, it's gonna grow in 2 folds. So it's gonna touch 2,000 US million dollars. So as in India, in the region of Madhya Pradesh, we see a lot of durum wheat production in India, and that's been used by all of flour millers in blending, and it's going to waste. So if companies like all the big MNCs in our country start producing durum pastas, which is of high need in the country, we flour millers can put flour mills, durum flour mills in the country, which would actually enhance the value chain of our farmers also, give them more money for their product. And it will be good for us also, because ultimately how much wheat bread we'll eat, we need to eat pasta too. Another thing is sustainability in flour milling processes. Sustainability is important in today's world, as seen globalization, global warming across the world right now. So it's very important we as a flour millers also need to take some steps which would be good for the environment. So we should actually, a lot of water is being used in our mills for the moisture addition in our mills. So we need to conserve those water what's been discharged from our mills. We should try have a recycling plants which would be good for the environment. Second things, we would urge the companies like all Buller, Celis, and other machinery manufacturers to make machines which are taking less power. Like for example, the other day we visited Fowler Westra. So they were making destoners. They were working on destoners which would take electricity as much as a washing machine. So they were still on the trial of that machine. But if it becomes a reality, then we can actually get our electricity consumption to a lower level. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Raghav. I request Mr. Sandeep Wagre, Strategies and Opportunities in Exporting Atta. Mr. Sandeep Wagre is Head Retail Sales and Exports, General Mills India, Sales Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. In case the slides are available, if you can present. Yeah, so it's a great honor to be here presenting to this Augustine guests who are based here, who are real experts around the wheat, please. I would be talking through a little around the exports part, which really goes to our Indian community or the Indian diaspora who are really settled across various countries. Now, if you really look at the atta consumption is really done by our community who's traveled abroad and settled. And when we really look at this community, it's almost upwards of 30 million people residing in multiple countries. But the large countries where we have really added value and are very respected as a community is in US, UK, Canada, the GCC countries, Singapore, Australia, New Zealand. These are top key countries, but definitely we are available as a community in many more countries, almost 100+ countries. Now, while we as a community are adding value to the countries that we have gone and stayed there over a period of multiple generations and are recognized, but I think one thing which binds this community even there is our food habits. Now, whenever I travel, I see that there are multiple generations, at least today about 3 generations who have gone and stayed and lived in the countries, but with every generation the food habits have passed. While we might have changed in our ways of living there, but our food habits continue to be to consume the Indian food, and that's what binds the community back with the country. And that's the good part about it, that food is really taking care and binding it back to the motherhood, right? And therefore, it is very, very important that we are able to give these consumers, these discerning consumers, what they are really looking at in terms of their consumption through flour. And there could be many products around it. I will not go very much in details on the products, but really flour still becomes a part of our daily consumption need, whether in India or wherever we are settled over a period of generations. If you really go a little deeper to understand what are these consumers, right? The behaviors could be different in India versus where we have settled. And definitely the consumers are discerning but are really looking and trying to ask for products which add convenience to them. While we work through the scratch mechanism, which is making our end products using flour, when we really look at in exports, they are looking at every option available, considering that these consumers are really do not have time as they are involved in the daily course as well as working people, and hence they have very high paucity in time. And therefore, the consumers are looking at not only when they have time making the end product using scratch mechanism, the flour, but also looking at convenience, whether through the frozen food or the ambient mechanism or the fresh food. And hence, these discerning consumers are looking at the complete portfolio and just not scratch flour. And that's what differentiates the consumption or the consumer needs across the export markets versus India. And where do these consumers really shop? Now, again, a very, very interesting fact when we really look at it. The Indian community largely shops at Indian ethnic stores in majority of the markets, which again these ethnic stores are run by our own Indian entrepreneurs and having people employed who are majorly the Asian diaspora. Therefore, when you really get to these stores, it's like you are entering into an Indian store with the Indian community, shopping for Indian food, engaging with people who are running the store who are broadly Indians, multiple generations stayed there, and employing people who are broadly Indians or Asians. And therefore, suddenly you see that the whole community is coming together and helping each other, right, build in the foreign land through the food route, through the route that we are really consuming. And that's very, very really, when we really go there, we really understand how the bonding is improving away from the country, and it is driven through food. And we also see that as Indian food acceptance is growing, we also see a lot of local consumers who are trying to come towards Indian food, looking at the various benefits that are seen, variety, the kind of food habits that we have different varieties in different regions, and hence giving a lot of options to these consumers. And therefore, we now start seeing that in the mainstream outlets like a Walmart or a Costco, etc., the Indian food products are available. Now, to fight it out, we are also seeing that the Indian ethnic stores are becoming large format. They're becoming hypermarkets. They are giving more variety, more choices therefore, for the consumers there, suddenly they are seeing that they are able to see much more Indian food portfolio that they can shop either at the Indian ethnic hypermarkets or in the mainstream stores like a Walmart or a Costco. And that's where these our guys are shopping, and therefore the consumers are getting more evolved. The retailers are helping them give more choices in the market. And the whole piece around it that revolves is how supply chain, because once they are planning a shop, every retailer has its own set of consumers, right? They are looking at from their lens of consumers. And unlike India, where we really see that we broadly have one size fits all as far as product, packaging, SKUs, pricing mechanism is there. We are seeing changes happening positively thanks to the penetration of e-commerce and modern trade in India, but still largely it is one size fits all that works in India. But that's something that is very, very different, and therefore we definitely look forward for a resilient and adaptive supply chain. As when we really look at the Indian ethnic stores, they are fine with giving the way we give our product in the right packaging that we work in India. But when we really get into a Costco, which is looking at giving higher end products or bulkier products at right price point, they are looking at a specific product for their customers. And therefore the adaptability of the supply chain should be there, that I need to build a product only for that customer and for the consumers who shop at that customer called Costco. Otherwise, I will not be in the game, right? Similarly for Walmart, when they look at having the right mechanism of reaching the store with minimal intervention of manpower at the ground level, and it seamlessly reaches the shelves where consumers can shop, is an expectation from the supply chain in terms of having the right packaging and the right product mechanism. Therefore, for the same product, going to the same states, going to the same city, may require different portfolio at different customers, which is very coming new to India, but it is highly already been there for many years for the local produce, right? Now that's adaptability or resilience or agility that really we are looking from a supply chain, which will help us to be relevant in each of the customer points so that we are available to the consumers who are looking for our products. And that's a change that we are clearly seeing, and I think the team has been working hard to find solutions for that, because we have never been accustomed to that kind of working in the local market, right? And this will keep on evolving over a period of time, and I think this will play a large role for the Indian food, how it gets available, not only to the Indian diaspora wherever he's shopping, but as adaptability of Indian food happens to the local diaspora of each of the countries, and thus penetrating our portfolio. And with flour being a part of daily consumption in different formats, whether it is ready to eat, ready to heat, ready to cook, or through the scratch mechanism, would play a very large role in the export market, and could be a very big growing opportunity, and can build a mark for building our exports turnover out of India. So I would like to just take the key takeaways. Broadly, it's a huge opportunity which is evolving with new portfolios coming in and challenging the ways of working. Really understanding our consumer is very important, and where he's shopping, and adapting our supply chain to where the consumer is shopping would be key to success as far as exports for whether flour or other parts of our food products are concerned across the globe. So that's part from me. Thanks.
Thank you, Sandeep. Now I request Shreya Kapoor to take it forward.
So, hi everyone, I'm back again. So, could you please help me with the presentation? I'm Shaurya Kapoor, Product Manager at Stun Ingredients, and today we will be discussing about a very interesting part, which is like related to cookies and puffs manufacturers. So we will be helping you, we will be giving you a solution to enable you guys to reduce the fat, making sure that we do not change any characteristics in the product. Well, from a very long time, having this reduction in fats and reduction of fats in cookies and puffs have been in discussion from a very long time in the industry, but none of the company was able to do it, and here we are with the solution, that too with the enzyme-based solutions. Okay. So firstly, I'll tell you about the Stern Ingredients Private Limited. We have Mr. Biren Pilani over here, right here. He's the managing director of the Stern Ingredients. And we have our head office in Mumbai, Maharashtra, and production facility in Umargaon, Gujarat. Okay. Stern Ingredients is basically a company from Germany, and we have been in the market since a very long time and working as a flour correction in this area, and now we have started with the improvers also. So we have got fat reduction solutions right over here. We have got two products. First is Bakelite, which works in cookies, and another is Puffzyme. So let's look over Bakelite first. With the help of Bakelite, we are able to reduce the fat, but how do we do that? Firstly, I'll tell you how the cookies, how cookie industry is there in the India. India is one of the 13th largest exporter of cookies in the market, and biscuit and cookies of over 632,000 metric tons was produced in South Asian country of India in the fiscal year of 2020. And the market is ever growing. It has been growing at the rate of 7.98% at CAGR 2024 to 2028. So where can we use this product? Bakelite is basically a product made with enzymes and other ingredients. Okay, it's a very simple premix which can help you in reducing the fat, also improving the characteristics of your product. So this particular product can be used in wire-cut products, wire-cut cookies like jeera, Indian traditional cookies I would say, jeera cookies, naan katai, coconut cookies, and many more. And apart from that, we are also able to use this particular product in rotary molded cookies. For example, Parle G, Good Day, and many more. Bakelite again. So how do we use that? What are the advantages that we are getting from Bakelite? With the help of Bakelite, we are able to improve the quality of your product in terms of mouthfeel. We are able to improve the characteristics like, for example, stack height, volume, and also the spread ratio. The dosage of the Bakelite is varied from 0.05 to 0.15%. Normally in the market, we use at around 0.1%, which is perfect. And it enables us to reduce the fat up to 15% of baker's percent. All right. So the cookies that you have been eating from last 1 day outside at Stern Ingredients stall, over there we have already reduced 10% of the fat in the cookies. And you could notice that the characteristics as in the volume and the stack height or the spread ratio, it's perfect, and the crunch. And very important thing I'll be able to tell you in the next slide. So over here, just to tell you, the first formulation is with the Bakelite. Over here, we have reduced the shortening by 10%. By 5% basically. Okay, if you can see on the shortening, we have baker's percent would be 40%, and later in the regular formulation, we had 45%. So there is a gap of 2 kg shortening, 2 kg fat that we are reducing. All right. Now, how do we do that? All you have to do is just reduce the fat and add the improver in it. Okay, the improver will work in a proper way. You have to calculate the quantity of the improver of the Bakelite on the basis of the flour. In the middle, you will be able to see one recipe, one formulation, which says adjusted as per the batch size. Normally, when we go to the market, when we go to the bakeries, the major question is like, you have reduced the fat, but what about the batch size? Earlier, we were manufacturing 90 kgs, but now we are our production was only 88 kgs. So where's the gap of 2 kg now? So as per that, what we have done is we have adjusted the formulation. We have not changed the baker's percent, we have not changed anything. As per the reduction of the fat, we have just calculated the formulation again. Okay, so it will match your batch size again with the reduction of the fat. Okay, you will be able to see in the regular formulation, we were manufacturing 89.140 grams, and in the adjusted batch, we are also manufacturing 89.14 kgs. Now, what are the advantages of the Bakelite? With the help of Bakelite, we are able to reduce the baking loss, and plus, we are able to increase the stack height and the volume. Now, what happens in the market, like in the biscuit industry, we have been trying our level best to increase the volume and still be able to reduce the weight of the product. That is what we want in the market, right? With the help of Bakelite, we are able to do that. We are able to keep the height, keep the volume same, even though we are reducing the fat, okay? Then it improves the mouth feel. Now, what happens whenever you go to the market and you eat any variety of biscuit in the market, be it a cookie, a biscuit, or a cracker, or anything, you will always notice, because of the flour and the fat that we use in the market, it creates a lump inside your mouth, okay? So, with the help of Bakelite, you'll be, if you would like to try the products, you can go outside right away. You'll be able to notice that when you bite the product, it will give you the crunchiness, but it will not give you any sort of lump. You will get crunch, 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 and then it will go away. It will just fade away. And it will, of course, make your product more crispier and crunchy. Apart from cost saving, it is also helping you reduce the fat if we see certain health benefits if you are looking for that. Now, these are the costings that we have done. Fat quantity for 10,000 kilos, we use 5,000. Then the total cost of fat would be 6 lakh rupees. Bakelite for 1,000 kilos of flour, we use only Bakelite quantity for 1,000 kilos would be 10. Fat quantity per 100 kilos, 4250. So total savings per 100 kilos, what we are able to do is 80,000 rupees you are able to save. For 100 kgs, you only need to add 10 grams of Bakelite. So when we talk about the fat reduction, let's say you're reducing 10% of fat. So 10% fat would cost you around, like, for example, on the basis of 100 kgs. So it would be, let's say, 5 kgs. So you're able to reduce the 5 kg fat per batch. And per year, you will be able to save that much. Please. It's 1 ton. Sorry, my bad. Now, where to use? So as I told you, like, this particular product can be used for wire cut cookies, and also it can be used for rotary molded cookies. All right? Rotary molded cookies would contain like Parle-G, Good Day, and many more varieties like that. Wire cut biscuit would be your daily bakery cookies like jeera, ajwain, atta, and many more. Now let's move on to the puff after this. So these are the things that I've already said, but in written format. So it will give you no lump formation inside your mouth, increased crunch, improved mouth feel. There won't be any waxy feeling in your mouth. Then no sticking of fat in your mouth, improved volume. So puff time. I believe since morning, a lot of people must have tried a lot of puffs outside. So over there, you must have noticed one thing. In the market, whenever we eat a puff, the first bad feeling that we get out of it is that it sticks to your mouth on the upper part, right? Now, we can say goodbye to that because with the help of puff zyme, we are able to reduce that. We are not finishing it, but yes, to a certain level, we are able to diminish it. So what does PubZyme do? It will help you in the flakiness and also impart symmetrical shape. Apart from that, it will help you in the reduction of fat. Normally, when we talk about the fat content in the puff, we add between a ratio of 40 to 60%. All right. For example, let's say you're adding 40% of fat in your puff. The roll-in fat I'm talking about, you'll be able to take it to 30%. You will have a total reduction of 10% over there. And you can do further also. It totally depends on what your customer requires and what are the characteristics that you're looking for. It increases the crispiness over there, and of course, it will help you in the better yield and volume of the product. And of course, whenever we are reducing the fat, we are reducing the cost, heavy cost from your product. Okay. With the help of that, you will be able to give you a good amount of saving in the product. All right. You can actually calculate on the basis of 100 kg flour, 30 kgs of fat, right? If you are able to reduce 30 kgs of fat in just one batch, you can see, if we even calculate on the basis of 100 rupees a kg, you're straight away you're saving 30,000 rupees. So these are the products which we are able to work on. Okay. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, I'm right over here. We have a stall outside. Please do let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Sroya. Now I request Ashish Bhatnagar. Okay. So he is going to talk on optimizing procurement strategies in the wheat supply chain. He is the Director and Head of Procurement Group Bimbo for Indian region.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all of you. Good afternoon, all of you. Congratulations, Ajay ji. Food was very good. So I would just like to start my topic, and I'll try and bring all of your attention towards a different dimension, how we all deal with day to day. So to start off, how many millers in this room? How many millers? Okay, almost 50-60%. How many food manufacturers? Some food manufacturers. And how many consumers? So all of us are consumers. What do we deal with day to day? We keep on telling you that we don't want a price hike. You come back and tell us wheat price is going up, flour price has to go up. And what does the consumer say? No, you can't increase the price of your final product. So at one end, we ourselves don't want the price to go up, and on the other end, we ourselves go and fight for it. So what happens in between is all the supply chain, how the procurement people, they try and manage all of this. So every company, we heard a lot of discussions. Every company works on a margin structure, and you would realize that within a year, the food manufacturers will take maximum one price increase, or at max two if the situation is very terrible. But the raw material prices keep on changing. We heard cocoa increased almost 300% in this year. Wheat flour inflation is almost 20%, more than 20% versus last year. So what happens is your margin keeps on going down. And if your margin keeps on going down, you can't manage your business. So we should try and work in each and every leg of supply chain. So what are the different legs of supply chain? It starts from farmer to mandis, from mandis to warehouses, and from warehouses to all your factories. So what we try and do is try to work with some of the people who are trying to be more efficient. So just a small example is, some people have warehouses in their factories, some people don't have warehouses in a factory. It is a very small thing. You do all this calculation day to day. So when a wheat is purchased from a mandi, it goes to a warehouse. or it goes to your own factory, there is a freight involved. From the warehouse, it comes back to your factory, then there is a freight involved, there is a loading, unloading involved. So when two different people who have warehouse and who don't have warehouse come to the market and try to sell flour, someone does have a less cost, someone has a high cost. And we keep on getting these complaints that he is giving you at a lower price, this is not possible. Yes, it is not possible for you because there is a problem in the supply chain, but it is possible for someone else who has managed the supply chain well. Similarly, we keep on hearing that the milling costs keep on going up, labor is going up, power is going up, everything is going up. But, and a lot of you are there who are already working on it. There are ways and means you can optimize all your costs. One of the example is, and even government is promoting it, it is also sustainable. Why can't you put solar on your rooftops? Your price will become 3 rupees from the current 6, 7 rupees all of a sudden. And electricity is a big cost for all the mills. Similarly, we also try and reduce all these costs in our factories. We have moved some of our factories to solar already. We are looking for solar banking. We are trying to look for rooftop solars. Now, if you don't have a rooftop and if you have a requirement of more than 1 megawatt, most of you have that, you can go for power banking. You have to invest 26%, you go for power banking, get that power, but you have a 25 years agreement where you get power 4 rupees cheap. So these are some of the elements we all can work on in the different supply chains and reduce our costs. It is not only about pricing. Pricing will always be governed. So wheat flour price will always be governed by the wheat price. But where we can work on is all these elements, and where we also can work on is the quality, because you look at the flour price, but we look at the total delivered cost. What does a total cost ownership mean or total delivered cost mean? That how is the flour performing when we prepare our breads? So if your flour quality is not good, we have more of rejections on our line. We have more of reworks. So all that rework either goes into waste or either has to reprocessed again. So that adds to the cost. So we don't mind paying a little extra if the flour quality is better and if the price is a little higher. So these are some of the elements which we should work on while working on the supply chains. There are now ways and means. Shaurya presented some of the elements where you can reduce the cost that we can do in our recipes. But throughout the supply chain, if we are not working for cost optimization, then I think it will be difficult going forward, because 10 years before now, I am sure that a lot of you would say that the margins were high, and now the margins have shrinked. There are reasons, because big mills have come in. So all these big mills also bring the economies of scale. The smaller mills have higher cost because the production is low. The bigger mills have the better benefits in terms of cost. And similarly, the other values where we try and work on is the quality part. How can we segregate all the good quality? How can we merge all the other qualities? How do we improvise on the quality of yeast so that the quality of flour is getting managed? How do we include other enzymes and improvers so that the flour quality is managed? So these are some of the points. I think a lot of you are already working on it, and we are also working with a lot of you. So it should not be much new for all of you, but this is a food for thought for all of you. We can have a discussion, we can have questions around this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashish. Now, Aditya Bagri will talk on further processing opportunities in wheat flour milling area.
So, a very good evening, everyone, and it's indeed a privilege to be here. I represent Bagris as a family and as a group. We've been in flour milling for a long time, but we've also spent over 3 decades in food processing, especially in promotion and creation of categories in the breakfast cereal space, which is an allied space, and all the experience that we've had in the breakfast space is thanks to, our journey with flour milling and wheat processing. So I thought this is the perfect platform to, come back and speak about the downstream opportunities. All my esteemed panelists have spoken about various subjects, the scale of the wheat milling industry, the scale of the wheat processing, the kind of improvements we can do at an ingredient level. I think the last talk on supply chain was very, very insightful, because that's a challenge whether you're in flour milling or whether you're in food processing, margin compression, optimizing supply chains, and how do you ensure that you optimize the value without increasing price or giving a better quality product is something that we've all faced. But I wanted to talk about the downstream opportunities, specifically once we've grown the wheat, processed the wheat, how do we make sure that the farmer's income specifically doubles? And that will only happen if you're able to extract more and more value-added revenue out of the wheat grain. And essentially, that's the first part of the presentation, which spoke about the fact that only 16 out of 113 metric tons, a million tons is processed, is the one big gap that we see between India and many other parts of the world. And this doesn't just extend to wheat, but across most commodities. And it also links up to the fact that today, for most of us flour millers who've got constraints around exports with a policy that can, greatly vary, I think the big advantage and the big opportunity is the fact that, if you're in the wheat business or if you're in the flour business, we're highly dependent on, what the export policy, holds for our futures. But if you're in the processed food segment, if you're exporting today a value-added product like a biscuit or a breakfast cereal or a malted beverage which has wheat maybe as a primary ingredient, many of those policies don't apply, and one can actually, gain greater value. So I think the root case to further value add is extremely strong. The key principles which we believe are important for making any good food product or any good, product in the FMCG segment largely today have been a factor of 5 key elements. Some which we've already spoken about, which is convenience, taste, which goes without saying that we're in the market for making processed foods. So taste is an extremely important factor in terms of consumer adoption. The space which we have been working very passionately on, we've worked a lot on segments for promoting grains like oats in India, is health and nutrition. So whether it's oats, whether it's whole grain atta, whether it's the use of bran, whether it's utilizing alternate grains, I think the entire awareness around health and nutrition is growing. And I think the one big global insight I have from our category of breakfast cereals is that in many developed parts of the world, breakfast cereal is largely flat. It's not really growing because countries like the UK have reached a per capita consumption of 17 kgs per person. So if a person's having 17 kgs of breakfast cereal per annum, there's actually no scope to have more. But what's dynamically happening is that in that static market, the organic cereals, the whole grain cereals, the porridges are growing rapidly, whereas the cereals which were made with a lot of processed ingredients, especially refined flour and sugar, are rapidly declining because there's a huge awareness around health and wellness. So consumers have started moving in that direction, even though it seems from the outside that the overall market is fairly static. India being an opportunity where processed foods is, barely 10% of the overall market. Even within that, most of us are packaging staples. So we still have a very high growth opportunity. I think there's a huge tailwind from unorganized to organized. And I think my submission would be that health and wellness today is leading that charge that, whether you'd like it or not, thanks to consumer activism as well as awareness, we are, making more of our products healthier by either reducing the quantum of maida or making it whole grain. To give an example, we do kids cereals. We launched a kids cereal which was completely maida-free, made completely with atta. Some of the largest multinationals who were working with maida recently converted their kids cereals, emulating our recipes which were maida-free and removing, antioxidants like PBHQ. So I think health and wellness, is a trend that one should look at and really listen to the consumers in terms of what their needs are. If they need something gluten-free, we understand how to process grain. the same expertise can be used to, process gluten-free grains. If we need something which has more value add, I would also say that, the wheat milling opportunity gives us a lot of learning there, because wheat has been an extremely versatile catalyst. So today, if we take a grain like oats, for example, or ragi, for example, once we blend it in with wheat, it works beautifully. You might have bajra on its own, or ragi on its own, or jawar on its own, and it may not be very palatable. But today, for millets to be successful at a processed food level, whether it's cookies, breakfast cereal, or many other, kind of processed foods, brands have relied heavily on the fact that it's the wheat that binds it together. So I think we have to find new application on that front. The other three key factors have been convenience, and I think that's again the processed foods opportunity, where we have to move from just looking at convenience for what we make, which is maida or atta, to more blends for the consumer. If we can give something which is more ready to eat, whether it's a B2B consumer or a B2C consumer, or if we can integrate it further downstream into more processed foods products. So globally, whenever I've had an opportunity to look at flour milling, I've also seen that, we spoke about pasta, and globally there are so many semolina mills which are attached to a pasta facility. So I think that integration is very natural, and I think in India that's gradually following. But as we achieve scale, we'll find that many of our flour mills might be augmented with further, value addition. Maybe the flour mill capacity might be X and the processed food capacity might be a fraction, but even if we're able to realize a fraction of that upside into a higher rate per kilo, eventually that's all going to transcend down to the value chain of the farmer. The last part which I wanted to speak about, which is the hardest to do, is the fact that you need to create trust, you need to create an aspirational value for what we make. Whether it's our recipe, it's actually creating brands in the wheat space or the processed food space, which we come with. Most of us have been manufacturers. Many of us have built, very successful brands as well. But I think retaining that and transcending that over time to consumers of today, because what we've also realized in the last one decade is that brand loyalty today in India is actually at an all-time low. Thanks to channel disruption, thanks to e-commerce channels coming up, Q-commerce coming up, today the number of consumers who are willing to try new brands and new products has gone up. So whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur trying to start a new brand, or whether you have a very strong legacy brand, you have to keep on evolving the product to make sure that it is relevant, with today. And I think that's one key insight we've learned, that constantly, revisiting what the threshold is in terms of health and nutrition, convenience. Can we offer the same product in a cup? Can we offer the same product in a sachet? Can we pre-blend a flour that we were giving and make it, ready to consume? Those are insights that we are working with. And I think that factor of convenience as well as brand and building that decades of trust is very important. Obviously, the marketing side of it, creating hedonistic value with social media has been extremely important, and I think that will continue. The other part where I feel as processors, which we lack, is the fact that, in the wheat supply chain, the traceability still is quite low. We process oats. Oats is not a grain which is native to India, but out there we get perfect farm grade traceability, because the farms outside India which are processing oats have the ability to actually give us farm gate traceability. I believe that's happening a lot more in India now, but as processors, we have to actually relay back what grade we want, whether it's, high protein, high gluten, durum wheat, whether it's a certain grade of wheat. We always talk about farm to fork, that whatever is made in the farm is what as processors we should be manufacturing, but actually as brand owners and as processors and as people talking to the customer, it's our responsibility to educate more downstream that this is what we want. We want traceability. We want this particular variety at this particular grade. It's happening in many products, and I think wheat being the scale at which it is, I think it'll gradually happen in small fractions. And the last part which I wanted to speak about was the fact that in health and nutrition, given the entire wave with gluten, wheat is largely viewed as an enemy. Many people have spoken, quite avidly in social media around it. Having said this, the grain is extremely versatile with protein, with fiber, very low overall on the fat levels, and extremely neutral on the taste palette. So if you're able to actually overcome some of those narratives and focus on the positives of wheat, which is when we don't actually remove the fiber of wheat and work with whole grains or work with the fiber part, I think then there's an entire conversation around digestive health, around high protein that the wheat grain becomes a part of. Globally, I've seen breakfast cereals use gluten to actually sell as a high protein, breakfast cereal. There's Weetabix, which is a very popular brand in the UK. They have a high protein Weetabix, which uses gluten to actually to promote. So I think as processors and marketeers, we have to revisit how we position the wheat grain, especially in an environment where awareness is, sometimes not for the grain itself. But these were just some comments and insights, and thank you so much again for having me here.
Thank you. Now, any questions from the audience or from fellow speakers? So if there are no questions, I just would like to add some 3 points for the audience to think for the future. I think everybody understands that wheat is the cheapest source or cheapest cereal available for the consumers, which will supply, which will give us maximum quantity of carbohydrates, fiber, protein, vitamins and minerals. So keeping that in mind, we can think of exploring more of composite flours where wheat will be the major ingredient, and that can be added with other nutrients like soya flour or millet flours, so that nutritional profile of the wheat flour will improve. And since the consumer expectations on the healthy range is improving, the industry has to adopt in developing those products and be ready with those products. And one more point is on the constant reviewing the FSSA regulations in India, so which will keep us on tenterhooks. Suddenly they will come up with draft regulations. I don't know how to deal with that. I request the organizing committee to take it forward continuously with FSSI, so that we should not be like on disadvantaged status as compared to other countries. And then is there any possibilities of developing wheat plus rice product together, so that both cereals can be used and can be consumed in India? Both are acceptable in India for the vast consumers. And one more point is like, is there any feasibilities of tying up with Association of Operative Millers for conducting international seminars on milling technologies for the future, so that, because AOM conducts regularly international seminars even in Southeast Asia, Europe and Africa, but not in India. See, there the exposure to international opportunities as well as international technologies and international machine manufacturers will be very, very vast. I think in the future that can be thought through. And I just one question, under the present circumstances, is there any feasibilities of working this committee to discuss with Indian government for allowing wheat products across multiple countries using Indian wheat? Though they have allowed for imported wheat, grated ground and then export it. But this question to Anand.
Sure. See, the opportunity in exports is more than just the rupee value, right? It's also the value chain impact it has, and specific areas of the country. There is a lot of focus on economically backward districts, for example, right? So we will have to look at this entire opportunity to see how livelihoods are going to change and how the ecosystem for processing is going to go up. So I definitely think there is merit to, table all of these proposals. Exports is definitely very high on the priority to improve value addition in the sector itself, right? So it is an opportunity. It's up to the sector to kind of put it up and show the benefits in terms of multiplier effects that it has on both the economy and on farming and agriculture.
Thank you.
Thank you. So our friend Romy has deserted us because he has a flight to catch and all the schedules are upset. So I'm standing in place of him. I would now request Mr. Ravi Krishna, please come forward. We will have the mementos presented. Please, sir. The first one goes to Mr. K.V. Reddy. A round of applause, please. Thank you so much, sir. I would now request Dr. M.M. Krishnan to please come forward and present the memento to our guest, Mr. Ashish Bhatnagar, please. Pramod Jain is here. Mudit, Sunil. I would now request Sunil Goyal to come forward and present the memento to Mr. Anand Ramanathan. I would now request Mr. Rajendra Gupta to please come forward. And present the memento to Mr. Sandeep Wagre. Just a small announcement. Where is Mr. Pramod Jain, Mr. Mudit Goyal, Mr. Navneet, Mr. Dharmender? All had an early flight. Please. So I would now request Mr. Dharmender to come forward. And present the memento to Shaurya. Thank you, sir. I would now request Mr. Adinarayan Gupta to please come forward and present the memento to Aditya. Thank you for joining us last night. And I'm still hoping I see one of our RMFI office bearers around. Anybody who can spot? Sorry, so I would now request Sunil again. Mr. Sunil Goyal, please come forward to present the memento to Mr. Raghav Gupta, please. बीरेन जी नहीं चाहिए बहुत मिल गए so I think we can all
सिर्फ इतना कहना चाहूँगा कि प्राइस की बातें करते रहते हैं हमारी कंपनी एक साल के लिए एक ही भाव देती है अभी काम कर रहा है सब लोग प्राइस की बात करते हैं इंग्रेडिएंट्स के अंदर हमारी कंपनी साल भर के लिए एक ही प्राइस देती है आपकी क्वांटिटी होगी प्राइस आपका होगा एक टाइम नक्की हो गया उसके अंदर कोई परिवर्तन नहीं होगा 360 डिग्रीज का हमारा गारंटी है
That includes cocoa powder and
sir raw materials are your problem
okay.
They are our problem also trust me because we do use them but the blends and the improvers or innovations which we do we ensure that we can keep the prices stable, because that's something which is a problem for everybody. It's a challenge. And our aim has been always to do a cost saving apart from selling a product. So it's a two-way win-win situation. One, our prices, like in gluten, for example, we can save between 25% to 65% of your gluten cost with our products. And it has one price for the whole year, so you don't have to recalculate it. And similarly, if you look at the other side, means in the gluten we have a concentrated version where you just have to use 1/10 of the product. So it's a major saving otherwise also. You are then making it up by maida, which is quite cheap. And on the other side, if you look at it again, in the fat saving also we have same. You save on the fat and you have one price and make it up with maida. So that's how we try and keep our recipes or our formulations based on.
Thank you, sir. So, but by the way biogenetics is being developed, my nightmare is, there'll be a Frankenstein wheat someday, and they will not need to buy wheat from the farmer, and you will create everything. You almost created the protein and, your replacement for the protein.
Sir, enzyme is a kind of protein. So
yeah, exactly.
It's a protein only.
So there are lots more changes to look
No, we are not modifying it. Enzyme has been there for ages. And if you must have noticed yesterday also when Dr. Lutz Popper was speaking, we are already looking at the climate changes, how it will change. So we have, as a company, Mulin Chemi has been with the flour mills for 100 years. This is 101 year which is in progress. And we treat 20% of the world's flour.
Fantastic.
So that's the other side of it. If you look at it, we are not, we are monitoring it properly, and we are using very consciously the products which can be used in an improver. We are not just going on modifying some things and using it.
Thank you. I'll request everybody to please come forward for a group photograph. And साहब WPPS वालों को और 10% discount दीजिएगा, please. Please. Thank you. So friends, just a few more points before I officially conclude or close this conclave. And first of all, thank you everybody. As I said yesterday, it has been a really joyous experience the past yesterday and today. And just for statistical purposes, we finally crossed 4 to 5, so 400 se aur par. And I really hope that everybody had a good time, met people from across the spectrum. And one of the objectives of this conclave was like to bring back people to wheat. And because I hear every day somebody talking of, quinoa or kale or avocado and all different sort of things which I never grew up with nobody in the past knew, but suddenly seem to be the superfoods. But remember, wheat is the king of all grains. And, we've all grown up with wheat, and wheat has it all. So, I love wheat is our motto in WPPS, and I also would encourage more and more people to become direct members of the WPPS. Very simple, please go to our site and subscribe. And as they say on YouTube, like karo or subscribe karo, please. And comment bhi karo. So thank you very much. Thank you everybody, and special thanks to our sponsors and all the participants, our speakers, moderators. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. Tea is there, sir.